All right, guys. So today I'm so excited. I want you guys to meet an amazing person that I've met just a few months ago, but super impressive what he's doing in the oil and gas industry with G2 Petroleum. I want you guys to meet Mr. Cotton Graham, and I just want to ask him a few questions about this industry, why this industry is so powerful, something that I've never seen before. So, Cotton, thank you so much, first of all, for jumping on this call today. I'm so grateful to have you as a friend of mine now. And
Absolutely.
I went to see him in Dallas, Texas, in his amazing office, amazing team. So, Grant, Colin, I wanted to ask you a first question. First of all, thank you for jumping on. My
Well,
first
thanks for
question
having
is,
me.
thank you. What made you get into oil and gas?
Well, that's a great question, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for having me, and it's been fun and exciting, and a pleasure to meet you too and start working with you. But I got into oil and gas as a young man. I was in the United States Navy for 4 years, and after I served for our country and got out of the Navy, I was looking for a career, looking for a way to make money, and a buddy of mine had got into the oil and gas business on the brokerage side of things, where he was basically marketing and selling. Domestic direct participation programs where investors, accredited investors, invest into drilling for oil and gas here in the great United States of America to encourage American energy independence. And he led, when he was working at the company, he gave me a call one day and said, "Hey, man, these guys are making a ton of money. And, this is a great industry. Oil is booming, and I think you should take a look at it." So being a hungry young man looking to make money and make a name for myself, I made the call, walked myself through an interview, and started a broker in oil and gas deals, selling, the same thing, working interest, fractional undivided working interest in oil and gas ventures, and basically got into the business looking to make money. And here we are 25 plus years later, and now I own G2 Petroleum, which manages direct participation programs for accredited investors. And I'm also a registered and bonded operator here in the state of Texas. On drilling rigs.
Great, great. So we're gonna go deep into understanding what oil and gas is. But here's a question for you that while you were saying that. I'm new to the industry. I'm an accredited investor. Why should I look into oil and gas today?
That's a great question. Well, if you're an accredited investor, right, you're looking to minimize what you have to pay into the IRS, into your taxes every year. If you're making over $200,000 a year or you have $1 million net worth, you're looking for aggressive investments outside of your common, mutual funds, money market accounts, low returning investment stocks, 7, 8% a year. And oil and gas can deliver that for you. So oil and gas, why an accredited investor, somebody that makes over $200,000 a year or has $1 million net worth, the main reasons you would look at an investment into direct participation programs like this is number one, for tax benefits, because you're able to write off virtually 100% of the dollars that you put into these programs. And number two, and the main reason, is to make money, because typically these programs can outperform your standard investments like, real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, low returning investments. So again, number one, the tax benefits are great, but number two, and the main reason people invest, is to make money. And, it does bear a degree of risk, which is why you get the tax write-off. And, the government encourages the, private investors and oil companies to invest in American energy. And for taking that risk, they allow you to write off the dollars. But more importantly, as everybody knows, petroleum and worldwide, not just here in the great United States of America, but worldwide. It's involved in so many things. So with that being said, people that are looking to make money above market average returns should look at this.
Great question. You said a word that said outperform. Tell me
Mhm.
what that means, outperform the industry. Because I think, for me looking into this, I'm like, okay, sounds good, but I could do this and I could do, as I told you before, I says, I was looking into real estate, why not real estate and so forth. And you open my eyes to something, a new vehicle, right? That was so amazing that I had no idea about, right? So what do you mean by outperforming?
Well, generate better returns then, better returns than, your standard stocks, that you would participate in, Apple or, Exxon, these standard blue chip stocks, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, that generate, standard, 8, 7, 8% returns a year. Oil and gas, if you get into a good program, can generate 25, 35, 40, 50% returns a year. If you get into a really good program, it can outperform that. So, our typical project is designed to generate a cash on cash return of your investment capital in anywhere from 18 to 24 months, meaning that the money you put into these programs generates a monthly cash flow, a passive monthly income stream for you. And our targets are to generate a return of our capital, cash on cash, in 18 to 24 months. The tax write-off is taken in the first year that you write the investment. And after you return your capital, if you're in a good well or a good program of wells, it can generate revenue month in, month out for many years to come, as long as those wells are producing. You can make 2, 3, 4 to 1 on your money. Anything above that is extraordinary. But like I said, these programs do have a degree of risk, but for taking that risk, you're able to outperform the standard, CDs, money market accounts, standard blue chip stocks, and those type of investments, real estate investments. So, again, domestic participation programs not only shelter tax dollars and reduce what you have to pay into Uncle Sam, which is a benefit right there. You're making money ahead of the game there. But also, if you tap into a few good wells, it can generate very aggressive, passive monthly income.
Awesome. Thank you for all that information. Something also came up to me, to my mind when I was thinking about, okay, great. It sounds interesting. It sounds something that I do want to be able to leverage my money because of the tax credits and all these different things that you're talking about. If I wanted to do a research and I say, I just Googled oil and gas investment companies and I see 20 or 30 different ones.
Mhm.
Tell me how or why should one is how do I look to invest with the right company, right? I think
Mhm.
that's what a lot of us are looking for. I want to make sure that you're a right partner for me. And
Mhm.
number two is why you're that partner. What separates you from the average petroleum company out there?
Okay, that's a great question. And if you run into Google and you Google oil and gas companies, there are a bunch of them out there. And, they all do different things, pros and cons to each one of them. What sets me aside and makes G2 Petroleum and Newport operating a little different is that we operate our own wells. I've got two companies, G2 Petroleum, which manages the partners, manages our investors, puts together our programs, raises capital, and manages the revenue distributions and the partners all the way through the life cycle of the program. Now, on the other end of that, the operators of your wells, the guys that are drilling the wells and working on the wells every day and making sure that those wells are efficiently pumping and maximizing your production and returns are very key. And what you see on a lot of, let's say, these Google pop-ups are guys that are just money raisers, just raising private equity, raising venture capital, and going out and finding a third party operator, somebody else that's operating the wells. So if that's the case, you don't have total control of what's happening in the field as well as with the capital. What it makes us different again is I have Newport operating, which is a registered and bonded operator in the state of Texas, and that allows me to drill wells, produce oil, and manage oil and gas production through the life cycle of the wells and of the leases. So what makes us different is that we have total control. Like I said, G2 manages raising the capital, the private equity, and the partners, the investment partners, while Newport Operating has drilling rigs, completion rigs, backhoes, dozers, trucks, water trucks, everything that you need to drill a well, complete a well, and manage a well through the life cycle of the well. We've got a 25-man crew that's out in the field every single day working on our leases and making sure that the wells are producing at maximum efficiency. And again, I've got a brilliant geologist by the name of Barry Hanks that is on our team. He's got over 40 years of experience in this area, and he's a remarkable individual, a wealth of knowledge, and well connected in this area. So having all of these tools that we're working with, that makes us different. That gives us total control and complete transparency to our partners, which I think that is incredibly valuable.
That is incredibly valuable. Also, on top of that, when I came down to Dallas, something that caught my attention, and I
Mhm.
think it should be addressed, was that you live and your office is about 2 hours, 2.5 hours away from where these oil drills are going on, right?
Absolutely. You know, I live about, I don't know, 5 minutes from my headquarters here in McKinney, Texas, the G2 Petroleum office here in McKinney. But again, the oil fields, the leases that we're drilling on, it's only 2.5 hours away. So any given time, any given day, I can jump in the truck, drive up there to the field, see what's going on, manage things at that point, and I can get back home in the same day. So it's very easy as opposed to, having to go out of state to, Colorado, North Dakota, even to West Texas, which is, 5 hours away. So just the ability and flexibility to be able to get to the field, to manage things and take control of what's happening out there. I think that is just something that you've got to have. Again, that gives us total control and the ability to get on site immediately to diagnose any issues and repair any issues and get production back up.
So you said you own G2 Petroleum. I want to know this was very comfortable to me, and I think it says a lot about you as a family man, as a business person. I wanted to know. Remember, I asked you. I said, Where did the G2 come from?"
Mhm. Well, that's a good one. You know, when I started this business back in 2008, I had two daughters, and we started G2 because I had two daughters. Well, now I've got three daughters, so I can't change the name to G3 Petroleum. But at the time, I started this business basically out of my home office with a few local partners, investment partners that I had. And at the time, I had two girls. So that's how we came up with G2 Petroleum.
Yeah, yeah. I think that says a lot about you, about being a family man, a businessman. And I think one of the reasons that I love doing business with you is because of the transparency that you have. And I think for us in business, that needs to be very clear, right? The transparency, here it is. Talking about transparency, I know that I remember when I went there, you did the presentation and showed me all these amazing wells of Project 65, which is the new project that you have going on, right?
Correct.
I want to know a little bit about the Project 65 that you have going on right now.
Well, Project 65 is a dynamic 15-well drilling program. It's comprised of seven 4,000-foot wells and eight 2,000-foot wells. Right now, we already have two wells online that are generating production and distributing revenue every single month. So it's already cash flowing from two wells that we have online producing, but we got another 13 wells that we're going to drill as we continue to raise the capital on the project. Now, what I like about Program 65 is these particular locations have been strategically located and picked by our geologist, Barry Hanks. Over the last many years that I've been drilling and developing out here, we've hit some really good wells, and we've also hit some marginal wells. But every well that I've drilled in the past has led me to this Program 65 development and has helped us select these strategically located 15 locations. And again, these Program 65, it's a 15 well package. We already have two wells online generating production and distributing revenue, but we've got a great upside through the rest of the development of the field. And again, I think in the first year, we can generate 35 to 45% as we're drilling out the program. And once all 15 wells are online, I see no reason why we shouldn't be able to generate an even more aggressive monthly income stream for our partners.
Um, when you say that, when these wells go up, all 15 of them, have you found, in your whole entire industry, as many years that you have done it, that you have dig a dry well?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, anybody that says they haven't hit a dry well, they're probably not telling you straight up what's happening. But yeah, we've hit dry holes. I've hit, marginal wells, and everybody that's drilling, if you drill long enough, you're going to. But overall, I've had a great amount of success hitting better than, I would say 85 to 90% of the wells that we drill. And I attribute that to multiple things. Number one, the area that I'm drilling in. It's been generating oil production for over 100 years in this area. So we know the oil is there. I'm not exploring for oil. I'm really harvesting oil. Another aspect is I've got multiple zones. When we're drilling these wells, the shallow wells down to 2,000 feet, you could intersect anywhere from 7 to 9 different pay intervals down to 2,000 feet. The deeper wells, you've got multiple pay zones. You've got up to 10 different pay zones that you could intersect and make oil production. So those two factors, coupled with the brilliance of my geologist, Mr. Barry Hanks, and his remarkable track record and experience in this area of logging wells, locating wells, mapping out trends, and identifying great locations, those three factors add into the dynamics of this area that we're drilling in, and our success rate being so high. Like I said, I'm not really exploring for oil anymore. We're not in the middle of a field wildcatting or looking for, the next great, huge discovery. I'm in the middle of a historically productive oil field, harvesting oil that we know is in place.
That's amazing. One thing that I heard from you also before, and I guess it's a question. How easy is it to become, or what kind of licenses do you need to become to drill the wells, right? I remember that you had showed me something online when this is public information,
Sure.
right? And also I want to hear, we'll see if you can piggyback on that, on the recognitions of the newspaper. I think it was was it Houston Chronicle or something like that.
Right. The
I want to
Houston
hear.
Chronicle. Yeah, well, I'll lead off with, what you've got to have to be an operator in the state of Texas. The Texas Railroad Commission is the governing body for all oil and gas development and production in the state of Texas. So you've got to have a couple of things. Number one, you have to be a registered operator. You have to have a P5 filing on file with the Railroad Commission, and it has to be refiled every single year. Additionally, based on the amount of wells that you have to have a bond. Right now, we've got over 200 wells online that we're making production from. So I've got a $300,000 cash bond with the Railroad Commission, and that allows me to drill, develop, and produce oil in this great state of Texas. Again, you want to speak about the Houston Chronicle. In 2018 and 2019, we were really drilling a bunch of wells, and we were the #3 operator or driller in the state of Texas for conventional vertical oil wells, both in 2018 and 2019 pre-COVID. We drilled over 30 wells each year, and that, like I said, ranked us as the third most active driller in the state of Texas for conventional oil wells.
When you said that's kind of called the styles of drilling, right?
Mhm.
What is the difference between the different styles of drilling, and why is that important?
Well, you've got multiple ways to drill a well, vertical wells or, horizontal wells, which has been, really the development in most recent years where people are drilling into shale formations, not really drilling into pockets, but drilling laterally through the formations. In my experience, it's easier to drill a vertical well bore than it is to drill a huge horizontal well. Also, the cost associated with drilling vertical wells is much less than drilling these huge horizontal wells where you have to put, multiple stage fracs on the wells, and it just gets very, let's say, intense as far as the engineering and completion methods and the development of those wells. What I found that works for myself, my company, and our partners is the ability to go out and drill a vertical well very quick. The 2,000-foot wells we can get drilled in 3 to 4 days, and it takes another 2 weeks to complete it after that. The 4,000-foot wells, it takes about a week to drill, and then another 2 to 3 weeks to drill or to complete after that. So my turnaround time from actually starting to drill the well to completing the well and making production is about 3 to 4 weeks. Whereas if you're drilling these huge horizontal wells, not only is the cost extremely much more than what we're paying to drill our own wells, but the time to drill the well, to complete the well, and get it online from start to finish is much longer. I mean, you're talking about 3, 6, 9 months to drill one of those wells and then to complete it, just depending on the dynamics of the well. But I like quick, efficient, and economically feasible wells that we're able to drill, get online, and start making production a lot faster than what you would see out of these huge horizontal wells that are being drilled these days.
So when you look at an opportunity, it's important for us to ask, are you drilling a horizontal or vertical well, right?
Great question. We're drilling vertical wells, vertical wells, 2,000 foot, and the deeper ones are around 4,300 feet. Like I said, down to those depths, you're not just looking for one pay zone or one horizon. You're intersecting multiple zones, and that allows you a higher success rate. Because like I said, it's easier to pull oil from multiple zones that'll make a good well, as opposed to looking for one spot or one zone. And if that zone's not there, it could be a dry hole or lackluster well. I like the ability to drill one vertical well and intersect multiple zones. And if you can intersect multiple zones, you can commingle that production and make a decent little well that'll generate revenue for many years to come. I'd rather have a good well for a long time than a great well for a short amount of time.
I heard the Project 65 came from is the U 65th project,
Right.
right?
65th project, not necessarily the 65th well, but 65th project. And I like to put together multiple well projects. I really don't like to do single well programs because, again, if you go out and drill a dry hole, you can lose your money. And if you can parlay your capital into multiple wells, that seems to work better for myself and my partners. It's kind of like going to the casino. If you want to sit down at the casino at the blackjack table, do you want to sit down and play just one hand and put all your chips on that one hand? Or do you want to sit there and play all night? And hopefully the averages work in your favor if you're sitting there playing multiple hands all night.
Definitely smart, but I don't know. But I think I would rather put my money on one of these projects versus the roulette. I just don't want.
Well,
I think that's a bigger risk.
yeah, I agree. Not only would it pay you more than likely, but you get the tax write-off. And that's a big thing for accredited investors. People with money are looking to reduce what they've got to pay into Uncle Sam and the IRS every year. And if you can put your dollars into these and write them off and generate a return, 20, 30, 40% a year, it's a great deal for you.
Absolutely. Why do? How come? I guess for me, I have to say this. How come not? I guess maybe in who I'm surrounded with or anything, but I don't see that so many people know about this amazing opportunity. Wait, why is that?
Well, you're right. It's kind of like a hidden gem. Not a lot of people know about domestic drilling projects and the ability to get into them or get in with the right company. But it's just, it's kind of like the old saying, the rich get richer. How do they get richer? Because they know the secrets. They know the tricks of the trade. They know, have the connections to be able to, leverage their capital and put it into these type of vehicles. But again, it's not like, it's on every investment, portal or out there in the open. It is kind of like, a secret tip to sheltering tax dollars and generating revenue.
100%. And most importantly, I think is because the information, not too many people are willing to share information, be completely transparent as you are, as I see the kind of person and the business owner that you are. So I'm so grateful that you were able to jump on here and to say, hey, education, right? Education is huge.
Yes.
And I think for a lot of the industries, it's lack of education. Like you said, some people they know the tricks of trade, and most of them are not even teaching it because they're like, you just, all I want to do is invest and not actually share the information with the average folk that, the middle class, right? I also found that a lot of people don't even know they're accredited investors, right?
Mhm.
So you may want to take a look at if you are an accredited investor and I think what we want to know is the who, the why, and the why. Who are you going to do business with, right? So G2 Petroleum, I've noticed that is one of the top guys out there. Why I did the research on the background of who he is. I'm very analytical, so I wanted to know what he get the G2 Petroleum. That goes back to his family, right? He's a family man. He's a businessman. He wants to help other people, and his drive to work, right? Because I've always see you like nonstop, right? And again, why? And that says a lot about you because you're willing to go the extra mile to educate people, to jump on here, to say, hey, here we are. How can we help you? How can we serve you? So
Absolutely.
you guys are looking for an extra way to diversify your portfolio, like they say. I was very ignorant to that, right? We were taught just to to work and make money, but that's it. And most importantly, the rich, like you said, the rich people are really investing their money and
Mhm.
investing it in the right places, in the right areas. Everybody talks about real estate today. Um, and it was just that information was, I was like, wow, I can't believe that I didn't know this before. I think if I would have known this like 3 years ago, I just invested into some property in Tulum and so forth, I would definitely would put all my money in oil and gas because now I know. So it's not just about the opportunity, guys, that you see out there, but most importantly, doing it with the right people, the right person, and educating yourself. And that's exactly what G2 Petroleum, what we're doing is we want to educate the average folk that's out there, that's on YouTube, that's on Facebook, to understand that yes, you have to do your due diligence. Like I didn't know anything about conventional drilling, horizontal drilling, the investment, the tax write-off, something like tax write-off, Y65. I think Joe told me that by the 65. When you say, and we're almost done, but I think it's important to know this. When you say that the tax write-off is 100%, and some of them were how I forgot how he described that. Do you remember how he said some of them are underneath the ground and over the ground? Can you explain that?
Well, it's like real estate. Real estate is above the ground. You have an asset, a home, a building, multifamily building, commercial property, whatever, that's above the ground. And the way oil and gas is, we make our money below the ground. But as far as the tax write-off, the breakdown on the tax write-off is versus intangible and tangible. So breaking down the 100% tax write-off, roughly 75% of that initial investment is intangible costs. And that goes to labor rates, equipment rentals, fuel cost, everything that it takes to develop the prospect and actually get the well drilled. The remaining 25% is the tangible items like pipe, casing, rods, tubing, the pump jack, the storage tanks. So all of the steel that you can knock on, touch, feel, that is a tangible asset, and those are depreciated over the next several years. So regarding the 100% tax write-off, roughly 75% is taken in the first year for intangible expenses that are associated with drilling the well. The remaining 25% are the tangible assets that go into the well, that you're able to amortize over the next 4 to 5 years. And
Okay.
on
And
top of that,
lastly,
let me add a cherry on top of that, because there is a depletion allowance. The government allows you to deduct basically 15 cents on every dollar because you're depleting a natural resource. So there is a depletion allowance of 15 cents on every dollar of revenue that you receive. So the tax benefits, again, are very rich. You're writing off roughly 100% of the investment out of the gate, 75% the first year for the intangible assets that are associated with drilling the well. The tangible assets that go along, the steel, the casing, the rods, the tubing, the pump jacks, that's the tangible assets that you're amortizing over the next 4 to 5 years. And then again, the depletion allowance, 15 cents on every dollar of revenue that you generate, is tax deductible as well.
okay, um, I want to invest in G2 Petroleum in this project 65. How do I get a hold of you?
That's really easy. You can call in on our 800 number, 888-723-2198, or you can email me personally, Cotton, COTTON, at G2Petroleum.com. So you can reach out to us through our website as well. We've got a contact us page on our website at G2 Petroleum. So you've got multiple ways. G2petroleum.com, email me, cotton at G2 Petroleum, or call in 888-723-2198. That's our 800 number directly to our office here in McKinney, Texas.
Thank you so much for jumping on here, Kyle. I really appreciate you educating us and giving us that information that so many of us need to make the right moves with our money, right? Especially knowing that I didn't know that I was accredited investor, right? So many people don't know that we're ignorant
Sure.
to that. I didn't even I honestly didn't even know that like 2 3 years ago. So it goes to show, how much information we need to how much more information we need to know, right?
Mhm.
So also, G2 Petroleum has a YouTube channel that there's going to be a lot of content being uploaded on there. So educate yourself, understand why, who you're doing business with, and everything. I definitely recommend G2 Petroleum to go out there and to do that at g2petroleum.com. Any other last words, kind that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, I'd like to thank you for your time, Javi. I do appreciate it. And, right now oil is moving up. It's at $85 a barrel right now. It's up almost $10 in the last 30 days with all the stuff happening in Israel and across the world. This is a global thing. It's not just here in our country. Petroleum is needed all over the world for many things, so many things that would blow your mind if you really took a look at what all petroleum was involved in. But again, oil prices are moving up. A lot of people think they're going to keep moving up with all the stuff happening in the world today. So if I could encourage you to educate yourself, take a look at what I'm doing, do some research. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to make money and you're looking to shelter some tax dollars, if you're tired of giving your money to the IRS and it's April 17th, we just paid taxes or filed taxes, a couple of days ago, and every time I write the IRS a check and they don't send me one back, it's really frustrating. So if you've got money and you're actively paying in taxes, you're an accredited investor, this is a way to help shelter those tax dollars and generate a return, a passive monthly income, something where you write one check into the program, we go drill the wells, and it generates a revenue check for you every single month. And it's not something that you have to manage actively. So again, if you're interested in making money and interested in using your tax dollars to do it, I really encourage you, I implore you to take a look at these type of programs because again, they do merit to have a degree of risk, but again, they can outperform the majority of things out there in the market. And no risk, no reward. And as Warren Buffett said, if you cannot find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll be working till the day you die. And oil and gas wells pump around the clock and generate revenue every single month from that production.
I love it. I love it. Good ending. One last question that came to my mind while you were giving us that piece of advice, and is this. People say, I don't know if I should invest in oil and gas because oil and gas is going away because everybody's going electric. What do you
Well, I
have to
mean,
say
if you
about
look at
that?
that, there's been recent releases all over. Solar power is failing. It's too expensive. I saw a release just the other day. There have been over 100 solar companies that have gone out of business this year because it's just too expensive to develop, to install, to manage it, and it's not working. The green energy investment is really a total bust. It's not generating the returns that people were projecting. If you look at electric vehicles, all you got to do is look at Tesla, right? New cars that people were paying over $100,000 for a few years ago. Right now, they're selling them for under $40,000. The resale value on those Teslas, it's no good. So the investment in green energy is, for all intents and purposes, not working. It's a bust. And you will not be able to get off the hydrocarbon, off of petroleum in my lifetime, probably not in my kids' lifetime, and maybe not even in my grandkids' lifetime. So petroleum is here to stay. It's involved in so many things in our daily life that it would blow your mind if you really took a look at all the things petroleum was involved in. But again, the green energy, and I'm for clean environment. I'm for helping Mother Earth. But at the end of the day, the investment into green energy, it's going to take a long time for it to work out. And the trillions of dollars that they put into that marketplace now, it is not generating the returns that people were hoping.
Yep, 100%. Economy is changing. The world is changing. There's one thing that doesn't is not changing too much, which is oil and gas, except it's going up. The price is
Right.
going higher, which is definitely great for those people who invest. So, Khan, thank you so much for jumping on here, man. I can't wait, guys. One thing that I can say on what he just said, educate yourself. You know, the lack of education will actually can keep you broke, right? And then I see that with so many of us who were raised in the middle class, right? There's so many opportunities out there that unless you know and unless you research and unless you do that, so connect with us, you know, with G2 Petroleum on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. We're definitely going to make some noise, and so know that you will be hearing a lot from G2 Petroleum. So thank you so much, Mr. Khan Graham. Appreciate your time. May you have much success in this year to come and Project 65. And I can't wait to see you 66, 67, 68, 69, and 70. And to the point that we can change G2 Petroleum into G3 Petroleum or
Thank you, Javi.
G3.0.
I appreciate it. That's it. I
All right.
appreciate your time, Javi. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Bye for
You too,
now.
sir. Appreciate it.